Okay, and this opportunity of the public sector is that you get a better understanding, but you also talk to the subject matter experts. You know, AFIIA actually started in Johannesburg in 2009.
We don't want to shock members where they ask about what is AFIIA, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be the host of the conference in 2026. A pimp once said to his employee,
"Just do it."
I like that. Good day. My name is Matlhogonolo, Matlaisane, and I have a co-host here. Good day, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, and you?
Good, thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lwandile Mkanyelwa, and it's good to be on the podcast again.
Yes, good to be here.
How are you today? Are you awesome? Are you feeling the energy of the public sector?
I am. And today is the last day of the public sector forum, but I'm feeling the energy.
Awesome.
It's the day after the cocktail event.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, we're here.
Yes, we show up as always.
Up. Yes, the room is still full.
Yes.
So it means that people really, really want to hear what is being said in the cocktail, I'm mentioning the cocktail.
The cocktail again.
It's a memorable event, clearly. So people want to hear the speakers. It shows that the IIA goes all out for our speakers.
Yes.
The caliber of speakers is, the speakers
really
are
amazing.
very amazing. Eh?
It's really amazing. Okay, we are not alone today.
No, we're not alone.
Yeah.
I know it looks like it's a chat between the two of us, but we have a gentleman here, very well known in the industry, Mr. James Gourrah. How are you, sir?
I am very well. I must tell you that life is very hectic at the moment.
Yes,
okay.
I can imagine.
And you always prioritize and say, geez, okay, fine. Maybe I'll only fly out because I have to speak on Friday morning because you've got so many things to do.
Yeah.
I couldn't have made a better choice to be here on Wednesday night already to attend the full conference because it's been excellent.
And the networking.
Oh, yes, of course. And of course, you probably saw me last night getting very competitive at the cocktail function because it was great, wasn't it?
Extremely competitive. Yes. By the way, guys, we won prizes. James and I.
James was the first one, right?
He was the first one. And Mr. Lwandile,
I think
we'll stop there.
Yes.
I think you must make a disclaimer that I helped you to.
I can't believe you. So we should share that.
Because just because I didn't claim what's due to me, I just thought, you know what?
You are putting it out there.
Yeah. No.
Oh, I love that. Oh, but welcome. Such a pleasure to sit with you.
Thank you.
I know we know you in the industry, but take us through your bio. Who is James? I'm going to touch on the James, on not the academic, the career-wise, but who is James in terms of your career and academics?
Well, first I need to talk about James a little bit before I talk about the career because my career is so overwhelming in terms of who I am.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's start.
The persona is very often linked to the profession.
To the 15-year-old boy.
Oh, I think the one word probably that describes me, other than being Cape Townian,
yes.
Because I'm sorry, I have to bring this in because it doesn't matter where in the world I go. I need to tell people I'm a Cape Townian.
So it's a personal
I just
brand.
love it. Yes, absolutely. I'm a South African and I'm a Cape Townian. So I'm born and bred in Cape Town. At 15 years of age, I think the only word that best describes me is probably ambition. And so I think I finished high school and I still had the feeling that I was equally ready and equipped for 4 different professions.
Sure.
From legal to being a medical doctor.
No.
Now, just to explain to you how ambitious I was, even at the age of 15, that And this was literally at the age of 15 because you're what I think grade 9,
Yes.
standard 7 in our
Yes.
age.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So this is when you choose your subjects.
Yes.
What is
Yes.
it you want to become one day, and you set yourself in a certain direction. And I couldn't set myself in a certain direction because I didn't only want to be a medical doctor. I wanted to specialize. But I'm not going to tell you which specialism. Okay, I'll tell you.
Why not?
Gynecology. Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes. But even at primary school already, I knew that if I go the legal route, I want to be an advocate.
Okay.
And
So did you go to, where in Cape Town were you born? Camps Bay, Cape Town, where you had career guidance?
Yes, I was in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, in Belleville.
Oh,
Born
yes.
and bred
I know.
over there. No, I must say we got good guidance at school as well, and very supportive parents as well in guiding you. I said, "Oh, it would be nice if you're a doctor one day, but you know what? If you just want to be a teacher, or if you want to just be a waiter, anything that is good. Whatever is good for you." So I'm happy that I got that. And yeah, so I didn't want to be an accountant, but I did want to be a chartered accountant. Okay, and I think when I left school and I started studying, I chosen chartered accounting as the route to go. Okay, and the only reason why I didn't want to be a medical doctor is that I actually realized on Christmas Day that you know what, a doctor's time.
Yeah.
And whether it's time itself and family, it's not your own.
Yes.
Okay, because you're called to a greater calling.
get
And maybe
off.
making money as a chartered accountant is a better option. And then I ended up in purely, and I have to admit this because I think it's a great journey, is that we set our sights on something to achieve something, and we get ourselves on a road to get there. And then life happens. And
Yeah.
you go on a detour. And then you get to that fork in the road, and you actually choose not the one that looks more familiar, but the ones that looks a little bit more bumpy. And you take that route, and then when you actually get to a certain place, you actually realize, I was supposed to be on this road the whole time. So
Yeah.
when I ended up in internal audit, I actually just realized, and this was in 1999, I realized that this is home for me.
Wow.
So it's been very difficult for me to transition. So you know, the normal talks that you have is that, so what's next? What's next? So I've been CAE of a bank for 13 years. And I'm fortunate that I got to work in an organization that I really love to work, because I identify with their values and what they were doing. But I got to practice my passion for internal audit. And it's because of that passion that I'm involved in the structures of the IIA. So I can't even remember when I started getting involved. But I did see it as a tiered approach. I got involved in the region first, in the Western Cape,
Yes.
through being governor of it. And then I said, okay, fine, the next step will be to get involved at the board level. I got involved in national committees first, and then I got onto the board. And I said, okay, fine, what would be next? And my aspirations would then be to get onto global. And I think in 2019, I realized there is actually a federation for Africa
Yeah.
that brings African internal auditors and African institutes together. And this is AFIIA. And so I've been involved now with AFIIA for the past 3 years. Okay. And I love it. So I'm still serving, of course, on the South African board as past chair. It's been a tremendous journey being involved through the last couple of years. As chairman, I had to oversee changeover in the top leadership of the IIA South Africa. As you know, Claudel, who's loved and still very much loved.
Yes. Very much loved.
Not only in South Africa, I
Yes.
promise you, all across the world. Wherever we go and say, when last have you seen Claudel? But we got a good replacement in Julius.
Yes,
After
of course.
fantastic CEO as well. And I'm so proud to be part of those journeys of bringing good leaders into the internal audit profession, into the leadership of the internal audit profession in South Africa, and to see that they actually plow back into building the profession, not only in South Africa, but across the world. And then, of course, Julius has been, a year ago, was replaced because other opportunities called him purely because he's in such demand.
Yes.
With Arlene now as the CEO, once again, so proud to have been part of getting Arlene on board. And I'm proud of what she's achieved in the year.
True.
Yes.
Would you say your next step is global now?
Yes.
I'm currently serving on the professional certifications board. So I'm one of the people who oversee the CIA, the content. So with the global internal audit standards that have come in now, we're lucky in South Africa that we've got a South African serving on the standards board. They've been working tremendously hard. People don't realize how hard they work. The topical standards or topical requirements that have just come out, they work hard in getting those things out to us to make sure that we've got good standards.
Yeah.
And then at the time when I got involved in global structures, I also played with standards and certifications, but I understood the professional development path for South Africans. And our path is slightly different from the rest of the world. But I promise you there's a demand, especially in Africa, of understanding what does it mean, this tiered development path that you have? What does an IIT mean? What about PCIA or PIA, etc., before you get to CIA? And on global, obviously focus on the CIA, and now with the new standards being out, PCB focuses specifically on making sure that we look at the curriculum of both the CIA and the CRMA. I was so pleased when I look at the stands about the request that we made for the materials around CRMA, because as being a member of the certifications board, it's good to see that South Africans are pursuing the global certifications. Okay.
What you've talked about your accomplishments, and you have reached the global market now. But what do you enjoy doing outside internal audit? What are your hobbies?
Yes, so that is always a difficult one because I invest.
But you need it to be a balance.
Exactly.
Balance.
Exactly, and that is the difficult one. The people often, and still today after COVID, still talks about the negative side. We immediately today, obviously being out of it, talk about the positives that come out of it. But being in the middle of COVID, I actually just saw the opportunities as well. And that was the first thing that I realized, that I could actually bring in more balance, because I've never really had that in the past 25 years. Unfortunately, it became a little bit more difficult when COVID was over to get that balance in. But in terms of what I enjoy when I make time, because I often say that my day job is in a bank, which is a big bank. The bank has captured more than a third of the South African population as their clientele. So to keep a bank, build a bank like that, and to sustain that and keep that momentum, etc., does require a lot from people in it. And I'm glad that I could have made a contribution there. But these days, I can say at 4:00 in the afternoon, but you know what? Okay, I've done my day job, but there's something else. And usually that something else is the profession. Okay. It's either a AFIIA or it's a global structure or it's a number of committees at IIA South Africa. And thereafter, then I say, okay, fine, but what do I like doing?
Yes.
And the things that I like doing is firstly just relaxing. I like to just go for a ride and clear my mind. But when I sit, I want quiet, and then I like sketching. Okay. Other than me probably have been a medical doctor today, my next best passion is architecture.
You have a lot of passions, James. I'm sure, but those drives in Cape Town are beautiful, eh?
They are, absolutely. And they clear the mind.
Yeah.
It does.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yes.
And how has your experience been since, I mean, you alluded to this earlier, since the start of the Public Sector Forum, and what would you say to people that are not here for the next year's conference, to try and get them to join the conference?
Hopefully this message gets to them quicker than when I talk to them. But I promise you, every event and every opportunity, if it's not an event, etc., that I can, especially people who are in the public sector. But I would go as far as telling people, who are in private sector, especially ones who served on audit committees, etc., in the public sector,
Yeah.
I will tell them about what they've lost out. Okay. If we don't even have to look at the theme, but I think in terms of the content, it's world-class content. It focuses on the real things that matter. I compare the content of this conference to a recent conference that I had as well, where we had in the governance part of it, we had the audit committee and board members, and thereafter we had the one where, in terms of the audience, you have similar to ours, where you have your CAEs, etc. And when you look at the content that people are debating, what should be on the agendas, whether you're internal audit, whether you're CAE, whether you are a chairman or a member of an audit committee, whether you're a board member, etc. These are the things that matter, and these are the things that we address. Okay. We also have the opportunities that many of these things, especially if you are an practicing internal auditor or CAE, and it's not only in public sector, it's in private sector as well, but especially in the public sector, we grapple with the know-how, okay? And this opportunity of the public sector is that you get a better understanding, but you also talk to the subject matter experts to really get to grasp exactly what it is, but also what are the kind of things that we can do. Yeah. So because we talk about the things that are topical, okay, whether you are a small municipality in South Africa, in a rural area, or whether you are or in a metropolitan area, or whether you're another type of entity, these are the things that matter. And so we're discussing the right things, we exchanging and we're sharing know-how on how to do it, etc. And then we can go back and we plow back. Okay. So if you're not here, you're actually missing out.
Yes.
You're missing out big
I
time.
agree with you.
100%.
You know, you talked about you wanted to go global, but then you discovered that there is an organization that exists within Africa, AFIIA. I know we have, in the very first episode of this podcast, we sat with Mr. Tepo Mufugeng, the chairperson of the board, and he talked about AFIIA and how did it start and why it started. Please also, because we have an announcement to make on this podcast, but we don't want to make an announcement without having a background about this organization. Please take us through what it does, how did it start, and what exactly is this AFIIA? I'm smiling when I mention the announcement. Exciting news.
Thank you. I must say, and it never actually struck me, but it struck me more recently as well, is that because I served on the IIA board in South Africa, we weren't that actively involved then in AFIIA, but I knew what AFIIA was.
Yes.
Okay.
As a member, even as a governor in the region, I had never heard of AFIIA. So I can understand there's a lot of members at this stage that say, what do you mean AFIIA?
Yes.
Etc. Okay, and hopefully we can actually change that, because the funny part is that what we never talk about is that, AFIIA actually started in Johannesburg in 2009.
What?
Okay.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that too.
Yeah, do you know that?
Okay.
Do you know that IIA South Africa was a founding member?
Even in the room at the back, we don't know they're shaking their heads. So it's...
Yeah, we were a founding member of AFIIA in 2009. Okay?
Oh.
Not only that, the IIA South Africa were the first host country of AFIIA. So we were the secretariat of AFIIA for a number of years.
No, man.
And yet people don't know about AFIIA.
Are you serious?
But that can change.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So to give you a little bit of history, because I don't have all that history.
Yes.
I'm not that old, even though I've lost some hair.
Don't worry, nobody will see that hair on camera.
Yes. Yeah. But there was always a need, even prior to 2009. So in 2009, South Africa hosted the international conference in Johannesburg. So besides all the international visitors we had everybody who was an internal audit leader from Africa. And they got together here in Johannesburg and they said, but listen, guys, we've been talking about greater collaboration. Okay, we have South Africa, which is in the top 5 in terms of size as an institute, and we've got some of the smallest. We've got countries that are trying to establish themselves, and we've got countries that don't have any. Okay, can't we get together and say, but how can we work together?
Yeah.
To help and build a stronger profession for the entire Africa. And this is in Johannesburg that they got together and they formally established AFIIA in Johannesburg. And then the next step was obviously to understand, but exactly what does it mean? What is it that you want to achieve? And we can get into that in a moment as well. And then, of course, the third one is that, but listen, we need a house or a host for the Secretariat. And because South Africa, even then already was the strongest institute in Africa, we had the infrastructure, we had the capacity and the capability to host Secretariat, not only for South Africa, but for Africa as well. It was hosted in South Africa. So we've been a member of AFIIA, and I think around about 2019, we started engaging. We said, but listen, we need to really up our game. Okay.
Yeah.
As South Africans say, we really need to become more involved, because the minute I travel and Chepo travel outside of the borders and we attend an AFIIA, it doesn't matter where in the world, and we've got 20. We officially we've got the 27, but we've got Cameroon that just came on board now, literally when we were in Tanzania last month as well. Okay, and so we continue to grow. But when you go, even in Cameroon, we had the president of Cameroon, of newly established Cameroon IIA, coming to Tanzania, and he knew exactly what AFIIA was about and why they needed to be a member of AFIIA. So everywhere else in Africa, people fully understand what AFIIA is, what it stands for, etc., and what is the difference between IIA as an institute for my country and AFIIA. But I think there's a lot more that we can do in terms of educating South Africans in terms of AFIIA.
True, because I'm sure a lot of people, they learned about AFIIA in their first episode of the podcast.
Yes.
And it's not in our tongues. Everybody, we know of IIA, we are members of IIA, but we don't even know that we are affiliated with AFIIA. And now in 2026, I don't know, drum roll.
Yes, let's get to the announcement.
Yes. We don't want to shock members where they ask about what is AFIIA, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be the host of the conference in 2026. Around May. The date has not been announced, but it will be in 2026 in May in Cape Town.
Yes, fantastic! I'm so excited. We're so excited. Yes.
So please reserve accommodation for us.
We are starting negotiations with all the hotels around the venue that we're targeting. We want to actually make sure that a year, 18 months before, that things fall into place. There's good accommodation. You get the view of the ocean and the mountain.
Of course.
Yes. You know, we get excited about the view of the ocean, because in my house, what view do I have? Highway. So it's very exciting that we will be gathering in 2026 in our very own country in Cape Town. But then, before 2026, there is 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've heard that this year it was Tanzania, last year it was in Ghana.
Yes.
And so next year, and they had won the bid in 2023 already.
Yes.
With going to Rwanda. Okay. As a country, they've really invested a lot as a country, but also in the institute and in terms of building the profession and the institute, and they've invested a lot as well. And we want to acknowledge that, because that is one of the primary aims of AFIIA, is that we want to build a strong profession. And that means that where we can help to build capacity and build strong institutes in the countries we want to. So by having this rotation plan of going from country to country with our AFIIA week, we giving them an opportunity to showcase that they have the capacity to host on world-class scale. They don't have to be as big as IIA South Africa, that is third biggest in the world. Okay, but we support each other.
IIA is the third biggest in the world. Let it sink. Thank you.
Absolutely. But besides that, Okay, the second aim of it, and this is our vision of AFIIA, is that we want to be the voice. So when you sit at the global table,
Yes.
okay, we want to make sure that South Africa, as third biggest in the world, gets heard.
Yeah.
But we also want to make sure that every African brother and sister's voice gets heard as well.
Yeah.
And this is where AFIIA makes sure that the African voice gets heard on the global stages.
You talked about the bidding process. Is it like the World Cup where there is a draw and then we become the lucky winners? Please take us through that bidding process.
Yeah, I was actually hoping as well for, you put it in the bowl and there's this major iPhone where you get the nicest, sexiest Barbies coming here. And
with the flags.
It's absolutely correct, yes. But it's a very robust process. AFIIA award the AFIIA week 2 years in advance for 2 years in a row as well. Right? So there was a bidding process this year. There was one 2 years ago, and then 2 years' time again, there will be another bidding process. The criteria is very transparent, but of course, it gets sent to the institutes. Now, firstly, I think a lot of members are going to ask, but am I a member of AFIIA? So AFIIA is the federation of institutes. So the member of AFIIA is actually the IIA South Africa. But every member of IIA South Africa is indirectly then a member and gets the benefit of AFIIA.
Yes.
So we don't, AFIIA doesn't publish then in the public domain, here is an invitation to put in a proposal. They will then go to all the institutes across Africa with the criteria as well. Then there's a selection committee that works independently from the governing council to go through and evaluate every single proposal they get against very rigorous criteria. And I'm so happy that South Africa now bid not only for 1 year, but they bid for 2 years in a row for both 2026 and 2027. And we got the 2026. But it's because that besides the fact that we have the infrastructure and the capability and the know-how to host international world-class conferences. But also, we didn't just go and say, but listen, we know we can do it. We'll put a little proposal together. People don't know how much work went into it from the CEO and the team. And specifically, I have to mention our chairman as well, to put a really good proposal together. It's not just something that's, but we can do it. Okay? They motivated to the governing council why South Africa should host in 2026. It was backed by sufficient data and evidence that we can host on that scale, etc. And also purely on the basis of very strong, based on hard work that was put in, that South Africa won the bid. Being conflicted, of course, when the bids recommendations were evaluated by the council, I cannot tell you at that stage how it was because I had to recuse myself.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you the feeling I had is when they call you back into the board meeting and they say, South Africa, you got it. Yay! Yes. Yeah. Because what's very important is that I link 2026 to 2009.
Yes.
Okay. Almost every country has had an opportunity to host AFIIA week, but South Africa hasn't. Okay, so I just feel that it's long overdue, and I'm just so proud that for the hard work that went into it, and I'm proud that we're going to host in 2026. And it's about bringing our brothers and sisters from all over the all African continent to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Even if it was
By the
Johannesburg,
way,
I
it's
would
my
have been just as proud.
Cape Town is my favorite city.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, now we're
Anytime.
talking.
I love that city.
Yes, absolutely. And I must tell you that they have been asking for it. I'm not talking about only AFIIA. I'm talking about members that attend AFIIA functions and say, but when are we coming to South Africa? When are we coming to South Africa? Because South Africa is seen as a mentor.
Yeah.
Okay, they look up to what we can offer. And therefore, we need to tighten the relationships. Okay, we need to make sure that there's greater interaction. Ordinary members of IIA South Africa need to have greater engagement with our brothers and sisters, whether it is in Uganda or Kenya or Egypt or Zambia.
So it's very clear that all roads lead to Cape Town in May 2026.
2026.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
I took a picture, and I don't have it now, but I made a point that when I was in Arusha,
Yes.
to go to the midpoint between Cape to Cairo. Now we're going to get them to Cape Town.
To Cape Town.
They know the road.
But before that, the roads lead to Kigali.
Yes.
Oh, yes. in
That's a little
2025.
detour.
Yes.
And we have to support
Just
them.
a little detour.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely,
Yeah.
we will support them.
But don't we want to get every South African member of the I excited to want to go to Kigali next year,
course. Sure.
so
Of
that they can
course.
come
And there
back to
is a
Cape
direct
Town?
flight.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you don't have to be going through all this
You
kind
don't
of...
connect anywhere.
No,
No,
connection.
no.
Johannesburg straight to Kigali.
Yes, exactly.
Or unless
Awesome.
you are in that little city in maybe you're in Limpopo.
Well,
You can
you'll have to
connect.
connect to Johannesburg, unfortunately.
I still have questions on AFIIA, but please answer those questions without even thinking.
Good.
So you will complete the sentence. Don't overthink it. Please, I know auditors, we overthink everything.
Yeah.
You know how you say it? No. This is not the time, you know?
You want to start from the audit plan.
Yes, you know?
Yes.
Execution. You can't execute before
No.
the plan.
Exactly. We need structure.
Throw all of that away.
Working
C
papers.
cannot come before B.
You know, conclusion must
Yes.
be... No.
Yes.
A wise woman once said,
You see, I'm sorry. That's just my normal self as well. Watch where you're going.
watch where you're going.
Yes.
And a wise man once said,
Go slowly.
go slowly. A parent once said to his child,
He's digging deep now.
he is, and that's not the intention of this.
Yes, exactly. If you ask me, first word that comes to mind, I can't even with this game of yours, first word comes to mind, because I immediately goes at what are the kind of things that my mom would have said when I was a small child of 5 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Don't touch that.
I get you. A child once said to their parent,
Why?
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a common one.
It is a common one.
I'm going to come back to that when she's done.
Okay.
Yes.
A priest once said to a couple that is about to get married,
Are you sure?
I want him to come back to that too. A pimp once said to his employee,
Just do it.
I like that.
You see now you are thinking out of the box. You're not thinking from the audit plan. Eh? I love it.
Now, that very same employee once said to their pimp,
Okay. It's going to be quick.
This is now a question, right?
gotta be quick.
Oh, wow.
Let's go back to. We're not gonna go back to the pimp one.
No. Let's rather go back to the child
The
and
child.
ask why.
I don't know. That also came naturally. I didn't have to think about that or search for answers. And the reason for that, I think in where I am and what I've been doing for the last 30 years, I think asking why has probably been stuck with me since the age of 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So I questioned my parents a lot. And I just never stopped asking why.
But it makes sense when you are older.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny now you started asking that as a child, and now you do root cause analysis and you ask why.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So, James, you like the Thesaurus of IASA,
Yes,
right? Tell us, is there anything that we don't know about IIA? I know we've already learned quite a lot that we didn't know ourselves, but IISA in particular?
I do think that, and just remember, I've built up a career within the IIA for a number of years, but I was just an ordinary member as well. And I've always throughout this period as well thought that I want to make sure that I stay in touch. And I know it's been very difficult questions often, that when there's this expectation from, but you're on the board, why this, why that? It's not always easy to answer all those questions. But the one piece of advice, if we can't give a straightforward, a simple answer, because when it comes to the internal audit profession, like many other things in life, the answers aren't always that simple.
Yes.
Okay. If I can give you a simple example, is that when we introduced the IIT and the PIA then, okay, there was a lot of questions. It didn't matter how much we explained the importance of building strong, competent internal auditors for South Africa, and that model worked. People still had their views of why this, why that, etc. So my answer then, and over these years, have always been, is that the South Africa needs internal auditors. Okay, and internal auditors need the institute. Okay, because we need guidance. Okay, the institute ensures that we build a credible profession. We provide the standards. We hold our members accountable. Okay, we build a brand that, whether you are a listed company on the JSE or whether you're in the public sector, they say, but I know what I get when I get a member of the IIA to be an internal auditor. And whilst members don't always understand why certain directions are done, they also always just need to understand two things, is that the institute always acts in the best interest of the members. And even before the public interest segment was introduced into the global internal audit standards now, IIA South Africa has been using that for the past 10 years and say, we need to know that the role that we play to build South African society. And we often forget that. And the institute is actually the driver in the background where members don't always understand. We're always there to build a strong profession. And that is why IIA South Africa is so big, a third in the world. Okay, it's because the institute always acts in the best interest of both the country and the profession and the best interest of the members.
If you were the only member of the IIA board, like the only one, and you can make the decision alone without all this voting rights and the governance structure that has been put in place, what will you change? Just one thing.
Better member engagement. Okay. Why these events are so important is that because we get to talk to members, but I want to see that translate into policy or whatever we need to do. And also because we as a country, quite big, we do have regional structures as well, but we want to make sure that we've got strong regional structures. So the regional structures make sure that the voice of, whether you're in a small rural town, your voice still gets heard. So it will be a big task for a one-member board to make sure that we're really in touch with the needs of the members, because we need to balance the needs of the member with the needs of the profession and South Africa. But that would be the main goal, is really make sure that we really focus on the needs.
True. And if you were now the CEO, I know Aline is doing a beautiful job.
Yes.
But if you had to take her out for a day and let's say you are acting, you don't have to report to anyone. You are all alone and you have your employees. What would you change?
I can't change anything, because remember, besides the fact that in this case, I have to admit, I cannot be objective. I'm biased. Okay?
It's that whole declaring that you are not conforming to the standards.
Absolutely. I'm fortunate through the committees that I chair to have a very close relationship in terms of what the CEO does on a daily basis in terms of her priorities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for that reason, it would be very difficult to say, but listen, I would do things differently. So I support her, and I think she does an excellent job. I wouldn't have done things differently.
She does. It's, when you are a member, you don't see all this effort that is
Exactly.
being done. But when you come close to the office of the CEO in IIA, you realize that, sure,
Yes.
she does a lot of things. Even on Saturday, she would come
Yeah.
when she's like the mere podcast.
Yeah.
She's very present.
Yeah.
She is. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the other one that we laughed about earlier is when the question about the priests talking, and I asked,
I'm sure.
okay, because I often think about that. We mustn't forget that Arlene is mom to young children still.
Very young.
And this job as CEO that people don't really understand.
Yes.
It's so demanding.
It's demanding,
Okay.
yes.
I've worked with 3 CEOs of the IIA South Africa.
Yeah.
I've worked with 2 CEOs of global CEOs as well.
Yes.
It is very demanding. So I take my hat off to Arlene. Okay.
Yeah.
To be mom,
To young kids.
To
I know
young
the
kids.
They all call me
to have a
auntie, but
young
they're very
family,
young,
etc. Yes, absolutely. Okay.
And
Because
for
this job
moving from
demands a
Cape
lot.
Town to Joburg,
Yes, exactly.
juggling all that.
Yes, absolutely.
No, look, and just to add to that, I want us now to bring it to a member, right? So a member who's sitting in the rural area, as you say, and who doesn't see all this work that goes behind, the work that the CEO does and the board and so on. Why would you say they need to keep paying their membership fees? What's in it for them? In this rural economy, things are expensive, and people would be tempted, to.
So are we pinning this economy on Cyril?
Well,
Yes. Yes.
it is his economy.
It is.
So,
It is. Yes.
so
Yeah.
what would you say to that member?
Yeah. I have gone through AGMs where you just want to have a nominal increase.
Yes.
And as chairman, I even then said, listen, it's a nominal amount of 100 rands. Okay. You don't talk about that. It's about just that fact about increase, not how big the increase is. Because people immediately go and say, but what am I getting out of it?
Yes.
Yes.
But things have changed. Things have moved on as well in terms of your question, in terms of the rural area. And being on the board, but also as regional governor then in the Western Cape, you had beautiful towns of George, for instance, where somebody saying that, of course, that we never have an event. We can't travel to Cape Town or Johannesburg to attend a professional forum or a conference because it's just too expensive. Because our training budgets are always tight. Okay, we can't cover it out of our own pockets. So what are you doing for me? What are you plowing back?
Yes.
You just want to increase the fee.
That's exactly the member I want us to talk to.
So first I want to actually talk to, because when I talk to that same lady now, for instance, the last one from George, they told that to me in 2018, etc. Now they say, no, but you don't need to travel to Cape Town or Johannesburg any longer. Okay, the IIA can offer its value proposition to you, not even in your office, but in your home, because we use the technology widely now.
Yes.
So there's so much that we offer. So it's understanding the value proposition. The biggest one is, of course, is that we actually make sure that you do the best job that you can of having the standards.
Yes.
And we equip you to be able to apply those standards. Okay. We will even help you to educate and help your audit committee. Okay, to have a strong audit committee to support you in your job, etc. And thereafter we have all this training, etc., to help you. And we try to actually, of course, everything cannot be free. Okay, we keep our membership fees so low. It is really one of the lowest of all professional
not
bodies, etc. We
the
can't.
lowest.
Everything that we offer you, we cannot actually pay out of that fee that you pay per year. But there is a lot. You actually lose all of that. If you're not a member, because you lose out the opportunity to meet with people who are like-minded as you, people who are subject matter experts that you can actually share. Okay, you miss out on the opportunity to get the training, get access to all the new emerging technologies, etc., and on guidance on standards
At discounted prices.
at discounted prices. Yes.
You'll miss an opportunity to attend AFIIA at a discount price. discounted price
They're
in
gonna miss
2026?
They're gonna miss
Because
out.
then
They're
you
gonna
will
miss.
pay a full amount if you are not the
Yes,
IIA member.
exactly.
But please take I'm thinking, yes, I need CPDs, for my
Yes.
certification. So the 40 hours, it will be brilliant attending that. But over and above meeting the criteria for a CPD, why should I be attending AFIIA for 5 days?
You don't have to.
Do you
Okay.
have a cocktail night?
Yes, absolutely. You don't have to do the 5, but I would strongly recommend. Okay, we talk only about the 5 days, but in most you talked about the outlying towns, the rural areas, etc. So just understand that classroom training has a lot of benefits as well. We're not taking away from virtual training, etc.
Yeah.
So in addition to the 5 days that we have, and day 1 and 2 is the governance forum. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about that right now because I'm proud of what we've achieved already around that. And then your normal conference is Wednesday through Friday.
Okay.
We have board audit committee members.
Yes.
It's catered specifically for boards and audit committees Monday and Tuesday. They engage with the subject matter experts, with the speakers among themselves at their level, focusing on things that matter to them. But CAEs sit there with them.
Okay.
Auditors who are internal auditors,
Aspiring audit committee members?
exactly.
Yes.
They come and they engage with audit committee. Last year in Accra, in Ghana, we had 400. Okay, we have some countries that don't have strong IIA, strong institute yet. Okay, but they sent 50 audit committee members and board members to day 1 and 2.
Sure.
Some of those audit committee members and board members, they love it so much that they decide to actually stay the other 3 days for the full week as well.
Wow.
Similarly, you have audit, and that 400 of last year has grown to over 900 this year. Okay, that is the value that audit committee members and
We
board
are
members got
doubling
of
it
it.
into 2026.
Yes, okay. And then the people who know already that, you know what, if I only come on Wednesday for the conference, I've heard so much about the governance part of the conference Monday and Tuesday that I want to join them as well. So in total this year, we had over 1,800 people attending
Oh, wow.
the AFIIA week.
Double has-
It's doubling every
Doubling
year.
every
Yes,
year.
absolutely. But what you haven't heard yet is that what I talked about, that person who's in that rural area that can't travel for in-person training. We have what we call the AFIIA University. Okay. It's also a 2-day training.
Oh,
So
wow.
the most important topical training that will be beneficial to our members for in-person contact with the best subject matter experts, they offer that alongside. So you have people who are juniors, etc., with us at the conference, where the audit committee and board members go into the governance contract and they go into the university part for those 2 days. Okay, and they then stay on for the other 3 days as well for the conference.
Sounds like a buffet of expertise and
you know-
just soaking in and learning. Oh, wow.
I think I'd love to attend myself.
Yes,
Um,
all 3 of us will be there.
No, certainly.
Okay,
Definitely.
absolutely, because we can't miss out. Eh?
Certainly. We will certainly be
Yes.
there. I don't know what to ask now, Matlhogonolo.
so
I have gotten a lot. I'm
It is
still
a lot. It
trying
is a
to
lot.
soak it in.
So you talked about the 2 days that it's governance. What is in the other 3 days? Is it like we are used to our, not used to it, it's changing a lot. If you can compare the public forum last year and this year, it has changed completely.
Yeah.
But what can we expect now in that 3 days? So in the 2 days, we know what it's about.
Yeah, structure-wise, content-wise, in terms of program, there isn't much difference. Okay, the one more for ceremonial perspective really is that it's more or less the same principle we have in here. Okay, we had high-profile people starting off the conference as keynote speakers. We had the accountant general, and we had the deputy
the
from the office of the
structure is-
auditor general in there. Okay, what we will find is that who are the game changers, the people with the clout to make an impact, to raise the profile of internal audit in South Africa or in whatever country we have. So this year specifically, we had the vice president of United Republic of Tanzania there. okay,
wow.
who opened the conference to us. Okay, and I couldn't have heard a nicer, better message that he ended off and say that every government, whether you have internal audit legislated or not, the one thing you can do is to protect the independence and the status of internal audit. And he said, and I'm putting this call out to every country, that you've got a responsibility to help internal audit. Okay, and those are the kinds of messages that we want to get from our leaders. Okay, and we get that at the AFIIA conference.
Could we do something similar
Yes,
in
absolutely.
South Africa?
I think so, absolutely.
Because it carries a lot of weight when it comes from a top government official.
Absolutely.
Particularly for the public sector.
Exactly, especially for public sector, yes. You want to know that at the top, they understand what we're doing and the contribution we're making.
Yeah.
And besides that, to build the credibility and the stature of internal audit across the country. So if you get those people with the clout, with the etc., to come onto the stage and speak. So, and this is exactly what we're going to do when we host AFIIA as well.
Awesome.
I think it's just, it's a lot to consume in 1 hour.
Yeah.
But do you want to conclude? But we can do a riddle before.
I've got riddles before we
So we will asking you riddles for the rest of the time.
Before we conclude, let's please
Because I
do the
also have a
riddles.
riddle here.
Just to wash down the information that you're getting
it was a
here.
lot to consume, and I hope our fellow auditors enjoy this conversation.
I certainly hope so too.
Me too, yes.
So, James, the first one is, what building has the most stories? Again, don't think from an audit plan type of thinking, just think out of the box.
But I was going to answer skyscraper, now I'm just questioning my answer. You don't like skyscrapers, the answer?
No.
No, okay, that.
Well, it's the library.
It's a library.
Of course, yes, of course,
It has
yes,
many stories. Poor people have it. Rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it?
Wow. Oh, you're really rattling the grey matter here, eh? Poor people have it, and the rich want it.
They need it.
Oh, they need it. They don't want it, they need it. No, I've lost all that
But
one
if
as
you
well.
eat it, you die.
Yes, that's. I don't want to go that direction, okay? Because you're equating the poor dying in the end if they eat it.
It's nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing can. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me just say the last one. What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence?
No, you've got me on that one as well.
It's time to fix the fence.
I love that. You literally think out of the box with your riddles as well, eh? Yes.
I think we can conclude, but before we conclude, let's give you an opportunity to promote AFIIA. Be a salesperson, not an auditor. And I want you to look at the camera.
Yes.
At your camera.
Yes.
You know, be like you're selling what.
Yeah.
I remember how when there was an advert, read all about it, when they were selling newspapers.
Yes.
And you'd want to know what's in this newspaper. Now, sell AFIIA to us. Thank you.
This is the worst job you can give me. I love what I'm doing. I've got a real passion for what I'm doing. But I always said that I will never become a salesperson. But
you can try.
But I feel so strongly about it that I will at least try and hopefully influence people.
Yes.
Okay, of the importance of AFIIA. South Africa is fortunate and privileged. Okay, and it's because of our members that we could build a strong profession in South Africa and a strong institute that's rated third in the world. Okay, but I strongly believe in you're stronger when you actually take somebody with you.
Oh, yes.
Okay, when you actually put hands together, etc. So I often talk about in the age of innovation, collaboration is a critical element to it. Okay, so South Africa has the opportunity to make an impact not only in South Africa, but the Institute and the internal auditors in South Africa has an opportunity to make an impact, to make Africa better. And AFIIA is a vehicle to say that, listen, let's help Africa and ourselves to build a stronger internal audit profession. Okay. Our brothers and sisters outside of the border of South Africa, they look to us because they know we're ahead of them. Okay. And they want to establish a relationship with individuals.
Yes.
Okay. With individual members, not necessarily the institute or the leaders, etc. And with AFIIA, we get to actually create connections where I can benefit in my small municipality in the Gourrah with somebody that sits in Kenya. And we help each other to build a stronger internal audit profession in our countries and a stronger internal audit in Africa. And by doing so, we actually make Africa a stronger internal audit voice in the whole world. Okay? And the only way we can do it is that we actually connect. Okay?
Yeah.
In the day and age that we live, technology helps us to reach each other.
Yes.
Okay? But technology cannot replace the human contact.
Yes.
Connectedness is one of the most important issues, and it's a connectedness that ensures us that we can collaborate and work better.
And we can't grow in isolation, right? So we really have
Absolutely.
Love it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
James,
Thank
you
you
so much.
Yes, we'll see him in August.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
August is
Yes.
our national conference. Please do look out for it. I'm not sure the dates. I think that around the 12th
12th to the 14th of
to the
August.
14th of August. Yes, that's
Yes.
the national conference. There'll also be a forum for youth that's going to happen later in the year. Please do look out for that.
It's in September.
It's in
Remember that.
September, yes.
But that information is available on IIASA.org.za.
Indeed. James, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Awesome.
And see you all in Kigali next year.
Yes.
But before that, we've got national conference this year.
Definitely.
yes.
Definitely. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of our INBrief podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned as much as we did. And thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.